So as we're we're talking about melodies, three main properties I want you to focus on when you're describing a melody. The phrase structure of a melody, its contour, and its cadence points, and where those fall and how they work. So just like the spoken language, music has similar phrasing, sentences, paragraphs, commas, periods, semicolons, exclamation points, question marks, all those guys. Definitely part of what we hear, what we play in music. And a lot of times, especially on breathing instruments, woodwinds, clarinets, saxophones, flutes, brass instruments, and vocally, those are performed with breath in there. You have to create those breaths in the performance to create that contour, that shape, the beginnings, middles, and ends of what we want to hear. A couple phrase structures I want you guys to listen to or listen for are what we refer to as a parallel phrase structure, and its opposite, a contrasting phrase structure. So something like a parallel phrase structure would be like, say, Mary had a little lamb, Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb, Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow. So you can hear there's these two parts in there. The beginning part, Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb, comma, Mary had a little lamb, her fleece was white as snow. So you can hopefully you hear how they mimic and they sound the same. They're just going, they end in different places. So the first time through, Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb, kind of leaves you hanging there. You expect to go somewhere else. Mary had a little lamb, her fleece was white as snow. You've finally gotten to an ending point, what we call a cadence point, a resting point, the period at the end of the sentence. Contrasting phrases would be more like, row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat gently downstream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. So as soon as I get to merrily, completely new idea. That's the B section of it. So you have the beginning of it, Mary, sorry, wrong song. Row, row, row your boat gently downstream, comma, leaves you hanging, you're not quite done yet. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Ta-da. That's the end of the sentence there again, so contrasting phrases there. The contour, we were talking about that before, is what we refer to as the shape of the phrase. Does it have a smoother, connected kind of scalar motion, which we call conjunct motion? Sounds like it's just walking up steps. Or does it have a disconnected, what we call disjunct motion, a broken kind of angular, you can see like right angles here and there. Something like that. So again, we talked about that before, the conjunct motion in a melodic line has more a very relaxed, kind of smooth sound to it. Obviously, the disjunct is more broken and does create a lot more tension to it. So really listen for those and pay attention to how you're hearing those and be able to describe the differences between them. The cadence in music is what we refer to as the resting points, the ends of those sentences of melody that I was talking about before. Good example, Ode to Joy, Beethoven. The very last note, you tell it's over. That's the end of the phrase, the idea, the motion, and cadences, resting points of our music, our breaths in our music. So sometimes we have a more full cadence, which we call a authentic cadence. Sometimes we have a half cadence. Those cadences in the middle of the phrases, like I was talking about before with Mary Had a Little Lamb or Row Your Boat, where it kind of feels like it leaves you hanging. You know something else is happening afterwards. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. There's a cadence point. but it's kind of what we refer to as a half cadence because it's not quite finished. You can tell something's coming up, but it's more the comma or a semicolon versus a period at the end of the sentence in music. A lot of times in music, we use these melodies in developing themes or motifs. Beethoven was a prime example of that. The Ode to Joy theme that I just played you, he develops that over the entirety of the symphony, as well as probably even more prominently, more popular that everybody knows is his fifth symphony. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Those 4 notes develops across the entirety of a half-hour symphony. And he does that in miraculous, mysterious ways. And so they're meant to create a variation in the original idea and expound upon that, expand it into new generations, new ideas. Variation is probably a better word of how that original thought can be used and how it progresses over time. As Jan Swafford said in his book, they need to continue. We're involved in a stretch of time like a little piece of life with peaks and valleys of interest, but always an absorbing sense of unfolding. So there's always a interesting opening movement to them instead of just rehashing the same thing over and over and over again. So those are main parts of properties of melody that I want you guys to focus on, and more to come.